Further on the resolution before us, I see Representative Davis standing and prepared. Representative Davis, you do now have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And certainly, after many months of work here, it's disappointing that we have to call ourselves back into special session, but we do recognize the fact that there is many important pieces of business before us that still need to be handled before the end of this fiscal year, and we look forward to continuing to work on a bipartisan basis in order to do so. However, after reviewing this call to special session, I noticed that there's a very important issue to a large section of the state of Connecticut, and ultimately the entire state of Connecticut, that has been left off of this call to session, and that would be the issue facing Eastern Connecticut in crumbling foundations. We have been working in a bipartisan manner all year, actually for over a year, trying to come up with legislation to help the individuals that are most affected by crumbling foundations. And I ask that we please consider doing crumbling foundations during this special session as well. So, Mr. Speaker, the clerk has an amendment. It's LCO 8859. Would you please ask the clerk to call it, and I'd be allowed to summarize.
All right. Will the clerk please call LCO number 8859, which would be designated House Amendment Schedule A.
House Amendment Schedule A, LCO number 8859, offered by Representative Vail, Representative Davis, et al.
Representative seeks leave of the chamber to summarize the amendment. Is there objection to summarization? Hearing none. Representative Davis, please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is pretty simple. It just adds to the call of our special session bills concerning crumbling foundations. And I move adoption.
Sir, the question before us is on adoption of the amendment. Representative Ritter of the 1st District, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate my good friend, Representative Davis, for bringing this forward. The Senate sent this down last night, which doesn't preclude us from amending the call of the special session, but we would have to send it back up if we were to add anything to it. But let me give some assurances to everybody in this room, because this is not a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. It is a bipartisan issue. And I live in the city of Hartford, and it probably doesn't affect any homes in Hartford, but it affects our state. It affects homeowners in our state, and therefore it affects us all. And the call of the special session, without a doubt, is broad enough to include the issue of crumbling foundations. I believe it is a state budget impact in line 8. Line 10, bills and resolutions needed to implement the state budget, which is a very broad language. And I would also point, if there's a bond authorization, is further in the call in line 12. So, to the extent we will address this in the special session, because it's very important to everybody, and if an amendment is filed, we will rule it germane. Everyone has my guarantee on the record of that, and I really appreciate everyone's understanding. This is critical. This is not a partisan issue. We will address this. Everyone has my word on the floor of the House of that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, sir.